Good evening, everyone. We're glad you stopped by. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Two Average Joes with your hosts from Lake Havasu, Arizona, Tony P. And from Long Beach, California, Joe Kelly. Hey, sit down, relax, learn a little bit of something, have a good time, and just do something other than watch soccer. So without further ado, Two Average Joes.
It's down to France and Spain.
Well, that's what they say. I don't know what you say, but hey, I'm rooting for the underdog. The team that's going to do the worst they think is Argentina, so I'm going to cheer for them. They have a 17% chance of winning. So, oops. Where's that guy?
Where's that beautiful face of yours?
There he is. Sorry about that.
There
hey, there we go. It's an old man thing.
I'm going to play a little game with you. We're going to do a little true or false.
Okay.
A little true or false.
And I got to
play with us at home there. And Napoleon was known for being a short man.
True.
But in reality, he was between 5'6" and 5'7". What say you?
I would say that he was shorter than 5'6", 5'7".
It says he was between 5'6" and 5'7", which at the time was about average for men in France.
Wow, there you go.
Okay,
hey.
that's -1. You got
Okay.
4 more chances. Ready? Hair and nails keep growing after your death.
That is true. I know that for a fact.
They do not. The skin shrinks, allowing them to appear longer.
Trick question.
Human trickery at its best. I always heard the same thing too.
It looks longer.
Okay, come on. It's just like hockey, man. You just got to get the next 3. True or false? Pulling out one gray hair makes more grow back.
False.
Ding, 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 ding. That's right. Gray hair is caused by aging genetics, not plucking.
There you go. Okay.
Trimming a baby's eyelashes make them longer and thicker.
I disagree with that.
That is also correct. Eyelashes are determined by genetics. They won't change no matter what you do. They won't.
Real quick, interject a fact into that is that I worked in athletic training, and we had guys that would get cut across the eyebrow,
middle of the brow.
You do not shave it off because sometimes they don't grow back. These women that the women that pluck their eyebrows to the fact where they're just
they over pluck.
Yeah, they can't ever grow them back. So anyway, okay, I'm 2 for 2.
Some of those old college stunts last a lifetime.
Exactly.
Okay,
2 for 4.
tiebreaker. We need to get ourselves a drum.
Okay, here we go.
Left-handed people are more creative because they're right brain dominant.
I'm going to say yes because I'm left-handed.
This is a trick one, so you're going to get to leave on a tie as if you were playing 5-year-old soccer. There really is no scientific evidence to support it, but there isn't any to deny it either. Some scientists do believe that it involves creativity from both sides of the brain, where we've always been told the creativity comes more from one side, right? Like someone who can draw or into art, or you being able do music
in your right mind is what they would say. He's in his right mind, so hey, learn something every day.
Right,
okay, now I've got a strange but a true fact. Thank you very much, my beautiful Suzanne, bringing me coffee. I gotta love her. Hi, Suzanne.
I thought she was under the weather, still serving your coffee.
She
oh my gosh,
coffee even when she.
You guys. She's going to wheel herself over in a chair one day to serve you coffee.
I'm telling you,
that is commitment.
Babies have 96 more bones in them than adults do.
I'm going to say yes.
Well, that's true.
They end up melding together.
It's true. 206 bones is what they end with, and some of those bones fuse together from the 300. So yes, that's the strange but true fact. The one I was going to say that you knew already is like if you drive south from Detroit, you hit Canada. Duh! Everybody knows that who's lived in Michigan. I mean, they know that you drive. I mean, Detroit. You go.
Now I would have got that wrong.
Really? Because Canada's.
I would have said that you had to drive east from Detroit.
Wow. Well, southeast. How about that?
But it's probably both, because technically they really do run along each other.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like you could throw a rock either way.
This is true. Okay. Well,
growing up, you'd look across over to Canada, right? The grass would be all green and everything was all clean. The Detroit side was all shitty.
Well, I remember that. Going to Detroit when it was in real bad shape, and walking over to Joe Louis Stadium, the arena, and we actually got to walk in there. There was nobody in there,
kidding.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We asked the guy, "Hey, we're with Amway. We want to just take a look at it. We're dream building about our next convention. We want to have it here. Hey, come on in." The security guys let us in and walk around.
Well, I certainly think we could use a few more days for the veterans.
Exactly, or at least one day. Good, more than one day. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, and there's certainly plenty of them out there, and we have a lot to be thankful for. And then some, we're now losing some of the brave. What is it, like one guy left from World War II, if that, or maybe a couple? I mean, it's down to like Maybe even the last one died recently. I forget. I know one of them passed away a couple of weeks ago. So,
Well, it's not too long ago, a
if
couple of
you're in
months
the
ago.
Vietnam War, you're in your late 70s, mid 70s.
Well, I think somebody that from World War One just died. I mean, it's like there's
So
some
he had to
old.
be the last. He had to be the last one.
You think, yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
he really wanted to get out of the house. He was probably in the army at like 14, right? He's like, "Yeah, shit, nothing's worse than my old man." Where
Exactly,
do I sign up?
exactly.
Hit me with
Okay.
a question.
All right, a question for you. Do you like to work out?
I don't. I don't. I've done it a couple times in my life. God, it's just so fucking boring. I don't know what else to say. I can't. I can't. I know now a lot of people, they can challenge themselves, right? It's a personal challenge. I'm going to do this. I can't challenge myself. I already know myself. What's the big? I'm challenging myself. There's not a real big winner and loser in this game, right? It's fucking me either way. So I need something more competitive. Now, if we were throwing dish towels in a waste paper can, I'm all in it. Anything with is competitive is more my nature. Surprise, surprise.
Well,
Oh,
I'm on the other end of that spectrum because I
that's
was
not a surprise.
well, I was the kid that
You're
at
definitely a better person than me. I'll give you credit right off the bat.
well, and I wouldn't say that, but the thing is
I
that
would.
I've always had a love for anything athletic.
Right,
always been involved in many sports, and when I was I think I had someone belittle me. I was on the B team in football. I just moved to California. I taught like this in seventh grade, and they made fun of me until I kicked their
right.
ass. You know, I was a brawler, so I got respect quickly. But one guy told me, he goes, "You're not very fast, are you?" Because we had to run the mile for time, and I told my dad, "I'm not having that happen anymore. Can I run with you in the morning?" I got up at 4:30 and ran with my dad every morning and improved my time on that mile. And then when I got into wrestling, which I wrestled from sixth grade on, you have to do some running. Not so much in sixth grade, but when I got to seventh, eighth, and especially high
Right.
school, lots of miles. And so
But when you say
did that.
working out, I'm thinking of going to the gym, or if I'm filthy rich enough and I go to the gym in my house, either way, that's what I think about working out. Now, exercising sports or going to the range to practice some golf or, jogging or running, I guess that's still working out, but not the same as like the weightlifting and
See, I did all
all
that
that.
too. Like in college,
Yeah,
I took a course. I was taking anatomy and physiology, and I'd taken
right,
the first one as a combo, and it's a tough. That's a tough major. Is that so? What I did is the second I had to take them separately. So when I took my anatomy course, I said, you know what? I'm going to take a bodybuilding, a weightlifting course at the same time. They're both 18
right,
weeks, and then when I learned these muscle actions on the body from the first time I did it, it's like abduction of the arm at the shoulder. You're abducting, taking it away straight up, adding your adduction to you, all these different things. So what I did is I took a highlighter and I highlighted everything on a schematic of a body of muscles, striations. And when I did all these different workouts with just dumbbells, every muscle in my upper body was worked. And I thought, I'm going to spend the next, because I was pretty buffed, but I'm going to spend the next 18 weeks never lifting a heavy weight, just doing dumbbells. And I'm do lots of repetitions and never gets too heavy and see where I stood. Well, at the end of 18 weeks, I shit you not, dude, I benched 375, I military 250, and I curled
wow,
150. So I proved that, hey, but the you have synergists, and you have energists. Energists are my bicep muscle, so which makes you go like this. But the synergist keeps it steady, the little side muscles, so you can lift straight without going like this because your muscle's going
right,
up. So what my theory was, work all the other muscles too, and you'll get stronger. Well, it works. So
right.
I love bodybuilding. I just can't do it anymore. I have to get 2 operations, one on each shoulder, artificial ligaments, and then I'll be able to do somewhat. Now, I've been able to combat that by I've started doing Tai Chi about 3 weeks ago, and I'm feeling and I can see a difference in my chest, my arm, and my neck and everything, my musculature, but my balance is getting better. It's a great workout for somebody who's 65, so I'm
Right.
into it. So that's what I'm doing instead of weightlifting. But I guarantee you, when I'm 70 and they can operate, I'm gonna start hitting the iron again. It's my love it.
Don't go crazy.
I usually do. That's my problem.
Describe a role model whose personality traits inspire you. That's a tough one.
Well, people might disagree with me, but Robert Downey Jr. is someone I completely admire because I remember
Really?
his lowest
Interesting.
days, and I remember
Right.
at below zero when he was literally below zero, doing all that blow and getting in trouble and messed up. And then he turned his life around. I think it was Robin Williams or somebody. No, and it wasn't. It was some other actor that inspired him to quit drinking and stuff, and he quit. But even more than that, we'll have to learn how to use the YouTube on show videos. But there's a video that he plays with Sting with the Police, and he does Driven to Tears, and he does it as well as Sting does. It's amazing.
No kidding.
It is amazing. When you listen to music, in fact, the crowd's going crazy when you start singing. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy's got some pipes. But he's done a couple songs with him, but Driven to Tears, and he does it so freaking perfectly. You'll got to watch it and check it out. So,
I think that one time he was arrested, it was down in the Coachella Valley, wasn't it? Wasn't it in Palm Springs?
I'm not sure. It makes sense.
I think it was. One of his episodes was down there in Palm Springs, and probably not too off from the time when either one of us was living down there. But
spent a lot of time in Desperate Hot Springs, probably, huh?
What is a relationship red flag for you? Now, I know you've got a lovely wife, so it's been a while, but you were in the dating scene, or I guess it could be any relationship. It could be a business relationship. But at least clarify the type of relationship that you're thinking of and what a red flag would be.
Okay. My biggest red flag when I was sport dating was the line that I used. It's like, in fact, my wife is like, she'll kill me if I told her this, but when I first married her, she'd been married to the same man 23 years. So when we're driving through traffic and she'll go, Gary, 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 Gary. And I'm just kind of laughing. I'm like, I'm not Gary. And she'd get all upset about that. I go, I don't care. I said, you have to learn to do what I did. I just called everybody babe. That way I didn't mess up the name.
I did too.
So if I go out with a girl that's calling me babe or honey or darling all the time, it's like, I'm sharing there's a trough that you're up against, and I don't want to feed with the rest of the pack in there. So yeah, that's my red flag is that. So, okay. Is honesty always the best policy?
Nope. We talked about this before. White lies, we determined.
We did. I'm sorry, old man.
Yeah. No. Well, we were covering under a different context at the time. I was just asking you in regard to white lies in relation to a sin. Remember?
Right.
But that's different. But I did want to ask you something.
Please.
So this person had posted a check they had paid. So they went to dinner, and it doesn't show how many people. So I guess it's regardless. But the way they set it up is it was a fancy restaurant, right? Very expensive restaurant. So the bill was like $600, and they left a very low tip, like $9 or whatever. And their reasoning was that just because the menu price was higher, so, if I was ordering a dinner that was $25 or I ordered a dinner that was $200, $150, you're going through the same motions to serve it to me, basically. So what they were saying is they were sort of downplaying that what I'm getting here, I'd also be getting up here. Now, aside from the fact that how much you want to tip is debatable, I do believe there is a difference in service and the person serving you when you're at a restaurant that's, $150, $200 a dinner per person, and the Olive Garden. And I'm not talking shit about anybody that works at a chain restaurant. I don't care where the fuck you work. But I have worked and have been to higher end restaurants, and you're just not walking in off the street and pulling that shit off.
Right.
I mean, you got to know your wines. I mean, the sheer grooming, the money you spend on grooming and clothes and pressing your shirt. You know what I mean? It was a Black Angus. They'd pull in, they'd reach in the back of the seat or their trunk, they'd grab their work shirt, fucking shake it off and put it in. So you know what I'm talking about. There's a degree of effort that goes into providing that kind of service, I believe.
I agree with you.
And it costs the person. They're invested more in that role.
Now the problem that you and I have is that I've been tipping because I've been in the restaurant business since I was 16 years old, and I've been tipping since then because I had mentors who were older teaching me how to navigate the restaurant world. And so I gave 20% tip when I went to a senior ball, but they had already put a 15% tip on there, and I didn't care. It's like, because when you're at the Carnelian Room in San Francisco, you get some pretty damn good service. So the thing is, you and I took my wife to the Chart House down in Redondo Beach one time years ago, and I sat there, and the guy walks up, and he just, hey man, how's it going? And he laid back attitude, but never looked at anything, never wrote anything down. Just say, this is what we got, this is what we're doing, this is what our specials are. What can I start you with? How would you like that done? Never missed a beat and got everything right. To me, it's like, dude, you're a rock star. And I'm not going to tell him, but to me, tipping is not a city in China. It's something that you do when somebody's done a real good job. So I'm very much the first person to go, dude, let you know. And also, I used to tip also for my own, I want to call it karma, but I would tip a minimum 15% unless it was something in the toilet, because I'd tell them, look, I'm tipping you this because you got to do a payout to some cashiers and some bus boys and maybe an expediter or something. But there's some things that are lacking in your service. When I know that I'm watching my food die in the window, there's a problem here, and you should probably fix that, or you may not be employed here longer. I might say something like that in a friendly way, or because if I'm sitting in a restaurant and I can see the window, I'll go, dude, hey, can you go get my food out the window? You know, I will. My wife says you're too forward. I go, well, I get up and help myself to coffee in the bus station if the service isn't good enough.
If I locate it, and I'm going to make sure it's a fresh pot.
I might even make one for
and do you think that well, I mean, I don't know. I have a 3-level scale. Minimum 15. That means you sort of sucked almost. Average 20. And then if I get that, you know, the real deal, which is rare, first of all, I have to leave my town almost to get it. Then it's 30.
Right.
Like if I go to Lowry's, I'm going to take care of this guy. I went to Lowry's in Vegas. We wanted prime rib. We had a reservation at another restaurant. I said, prime rib, canceled that reservation, called Lowry's, made a reservation. And I told the waiter at the end of the meal, I go, listen, of course, the food was fabulous. The prime rib was excellent, blah, 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 the ambiance. But I'm like, you provided something that I just can't get where I live, and most people can't get ever. And that is impeccable service, awareness, thoroughness, just enough, you know, interaction, not too much. You know, there's a fine line there.
Yes, good point. Because, see, that's one thing I wanted to say is that when I was learning to wait, when I was 16 years old, they told me, they said, look, these are the times you should show up at the table. And unless that's the case, leave the table alone. Maybe look at it from a distance and see if they're looking around for something. You can do that. But don't keep going up all the time because they might be telling a joke and you're screwing up the punchline for them, you know? So I agree with you. It's you want to make sure you don't piss off the people before they tip you. That's what I say.
Yeah. And definitely before they serve the food.
Exactly. Well, that's the one thing I used to say to somebody. It's like, hey, make sure you don't want to piss the people off who see your food before you do. Because I could tell you some horror stories, and I won't name restaurants or what they did, but I saw things that's turned my stomach when people were pissed off about refires and
remember they used to say that Visine would give someone the runs. I don't believe that's true. Is that true?
I will be a confessor. I have done that to someone. And
shut up.
Yes, I did. And this son of a bitch.
Did they have red eyes, or you were just pissed at him?
Well, this son of a bitch kept talking down to me the whole time. He was an African-American gentleman, had 2 white women, and kept calling me boy the whole time, running me ragged, boy, boy, boy. And he said, and I remember he said, I want some wine. And I said under my breath, but you can't pronounce the names. He said, what? I said, nothing. He goes, I'll have Blue Nun. I said, that's what I thought you'd say. Write the Blue Nun down in Black Angus.
Nun.
But remember what Stewart said, the correct wine is the one that you enjoy. Unless it's,
and you know what? And it's true. And that's why we sold a shit ton of Blue Nun.
But Liebfrau Mitch will give you a nasty headache. Anybody that doesn't drink wine, you're an idiot to do that. Oh, it's the worst.
So sweet, right?
Dessert wine or something. But anyway, this guy pissed me off so badly that we usually kept, back then days, we had the glass jars of ketchup that didn't breathe, but you could see the bubbles. And we always had an extra like barbecue sauce and those sauces in the back bus station. So if somebody pissed you off, you could give it a shake and put it on there and explode all over them and ruin their suit, right? That was one thing. But this guy pissed me off, and he said, I want a double martini in a tall glass. And I gave it to him. I said, okay, so do you want vermouth? He goes, no, I don't want vermouth. I go, so you want vodka on the rocks in a real tall glass? And he said, I want a vodka martini. I'm like, okay, so bring it to him. And he takes a sip. He goes, oh, can you put some Coke in there for me? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put more than Coke in you, because he said, hey, boy, come here, give me. And so I'm like, okay, we're done. And I went and grabbed a bottle of Visine, and I squeezed that whole motherfucker into his drink. And he's down there dancing and partying and all. It wasn't all of a sudden. It was about maybe 45 minutes later. You could see him kind of, and I told the bartender, let me know if you see this guy. And he's like, hey, this guy's convulsing. He's like, and he runs to the bathroom, and he's in the bathroom for a while, and his girlfriend's waiting outside, and they have to leave. And I'm thinking that's because not only do you get the runs, but you throw up. So he had to.
Awesome.
Both so that was screw you, paybacks are we'll use one of those effectively then. So there.
Yeah. Well, but see, and that's the difference. You're using that in anger, which I'm a frequent believer in that symbol. But to do it in a photo of like 5 of you at a ball game or something, it's like that. It's like, and you won.
Yeah.
it's not like you lost and you're all angry. So I just don't get that. I don't know if that is supposed to be. I mean, I always thought that maybe like Hollywood actors or musicians that did it, like musicians, you would think you would do it because it would be like a rock thing to do, right? And then actors, I always figured, well, they just do it like because it's their way of jokingly saying fuck you, but they're really saying fuck you, right? But they can do it with a smile on their face, so it's not offensive. But to me, it's still offensive. I don't care if you're smiling. It doesn't change it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why that bothers me so much.
Well, you know about the actors thing. I just went to Universal Studios, and I haven't been there in years. And I went there on Friday, and I was sitting there taking the tour. And as I come down into the valley where all the sound stages are, I had this epiphany, and it was almost like metaphoric because there were really tiny people down there in these big studios, and I thought, these people in Hollywood are just small individuals. They're nothing that impresses me anymore. And I didn't have the greatest time there because I kept thinking, why would I glorify these asswipes? I mean, they just think that they're they show us this is how you live. They take 25 selfies to make sure the one's done perfect, so they can show you this is what the perfect everything looks like. So they these expectations
and really, if you break it down, let's say you take all the actors and actresses, I would say a good 70%, 75% maybe are really just being themselves. So there's certain people, it doesn't matter what show, what movie you see them in, like a Jennifer Aniston or, certain people, it's really just them. Right. And, sure, they're twisting it a little bit, but you don't see much variance between them where compared to someone like like I don't know, a Johnny Depp or
Leonardo DiCaprio.
That takes that, right? Someone that can go from a comedy to a serious to a Hamlet. I mean, they can run the spectrum,
right.
And it's not the same person. You don't hear the same voice. You don't see the same mannerisms. I mean, they're in the role,
right?
Like a Heath Ledger, someone that really.
Who ad lib and get away with it. I mean, the one thing that Johnny, when what we just talked about his name,
Heath Ledger.
No, the guy that did
Django.
DiCaprio. When he did Django, he did a scene where they're all sitting at the table and he's doing this speech and he slams down a glass and he really cut his hand. And you could see Kerry Washington just going to go, fuck. And it's like, and he goes over and he grabs her face. He's got blood on his hands, his own blood. And they just kept rolling. They thought that was the most amazing thing in the world. Some of these actors, like you see him, I've seen him where he does The Wolf of Wall Street. And he's ready to get in character. And all of a sudden he goes and you're like, where did that come from? That's amazing. Right. So I'm a voice actor, so I understand it's difficult to find a point of view and to hold that point of view. But my actor friends tell me, well, when you're dressed and you're looking at somebody else, it's a whole lot easier than looking at a piece of paper in a booth, Kelly. But it's like,
speaking of a voiceover, I forget who I was talking to, one of our listeners, which by the way, now, I mean, I don't want to brag, but we're coming up on 800 views. Looking for 1,000. Won't that be exciting? 1,000, remember, from zero. We have about 16 or 19 subscribers now. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
But someone I was talking to that listens to the show, in fact, they even turned it. I was doing a pedicure, and someone they turned the video on because I told them how to locate it, and they're listening to it. They're like, oh, man, it just makes me so happy. It might have been Shay, I think. But anyway, someone said that they go, oh, we want Joe to do a voiceover. And I'm like, well, the funny thing is, we have so many of them on all the shows we never posted, right? Because we didn't post anything until we figured it out. But I tell people, I go, I think they think I'm crazy. I'm like, we've been doing this since May of 2025. I go, we have a dozen of more shows that no one's heard, but we have them in the vault. And we used to do a lot of voiceover back then. So I go, but sometimes, you just can't put someone on the spot. So they have to know. So whether next show or if when you feel up to it, I'd like to satisfy that request through your efforts.
Okay, no problem. In fact, I'll do a part of one right now for Johnson & Johnson.
Okay.
At Johnson & Johnson, we don't watch the future happen. We build it in labs, conversations, and decisions happening every day. It starts with a choice to move forward, to act on what we know, to take what's possible and make it real. Every discovery, every advancement builds on one another, connecting and accelerating, optimizing communication for continuous improvement. Impact is the goal. Helping more patients than ever before. The future won't be defined by what we plan, by what we do right now. Let's go.
Very good. And that's a tough one. That's like almost 45. So that's a long one. Is
that
one of the longer ones you've done?
Well, no, I've done a couple of minutes. I've even done a 24-page play before. But this is literally, it would have been probably 90 seconds if I did it the pace it should have. But I edited, took a little bit. I just read the first part and then jumped to the end of it. But That's the kind of
Yeah,
stuff that I'll
because
do.
I think your voice really would, like when you said you did like a short play or a short story, like it was one of those books on tape.
Mhm.
I mean, you have the perfect relaxing voice for
Well, that's
that.
funny you should say that because I mean, I've booked jobs. I'm way ahead of schedule what I want to do for my time being in this
Yeah,
business, which is just a year and a couple of months. But my cousin wrote a book which I thought was hilarious, and it's called the Crazy Eight or something. No, I Survived the Five, and it's because he's got 4 daughters and a wife, and so he had 5 women in the house, and he does this. He's a redneck from Valdosta, Georgia. Kind of talks like this. Got a real rough accent. Go Bulldogs. That's my cousin Mike, and he's 71 years old, and he wrote this book. And
Georgia Bulldogs.
he's go Georgia Bulldogs, ugga. That their rednecks are bad about that. But anyway, he wrote a book, and I told him I really don't do narration, but I took a foundations course again, and they were talking about some different things, and I learned about some of the monies, and it's acting. And voice acting is acting like when there's times like when freedom roams where it wants. You might as well go along for the ride of your life. I mean, just different points of view where it's like, check, check, check. It's all around us. But what does that mean to us? In layman terms, of course. So you have to find a reference to do it in. And in narration, it's like reading a story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it a page at a time in my cousin's book. I'm going to mark it like I would do, like when I do marks, it's hard to see, but I'm marking between things. I'm marking notes on there on what I'm going to say and how I'm going to inflect and what's going to be up and what's going to be down. And so I'm going to have to do that page per page. And so I think that I am going to start doing narration because I have so many people say, dude, I could listen to a book that you narrated, even if it's just something quiet and known like this. It's got such a pleasant voice for that. And I can't brag about my voice. It's a God's gift, but I can learn how to use it, make it much better. And the money that I got paid for, the best jobs I've done were like, hey, that's the way it is. You know what I'm talking about? It's just one of those things. And that kind of voice that talks to people like almost an inner voice is the thing that people want me to do most.
And plus they're going to edit it, right? So if they wanted like a more of a pause between a statement, or if they wanted to, they're going to massage what you do because they have to get it to a timeline, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I did
15,
one that I did one that it's a one-sided read. You've got a script with two people, me and my wife, and it's like you just have to read that part and you act like you're talking to somebody. So, and it was like 4 or 5 lines. It was like, hi, honey. No, what happened? Really? Did you look on your wrist? It's on your wrist, honey. Nice. And that I got paid serious money for that. And it was a jewelry commercial. Like, I can't find my watch. Did you look on your wrist?
Do you ever get to hear the end result where they
I have not. That's what I keep looking for those things, but I work from a platform that's basically, it's like, you don't know. I mean, when you get into the top echelons, and I know people up there, I mean, the guy that does the glasses, 2 pairs of glasses for $89, America's Best. That was my coach, Chris Fries, who's an amazing artist. It's like real stories of the Highway Patrol. That's my friend Scott. And you listen, all these different people I know, but they got to a point where they did their dues, and now they've made it so you can recognize them and do national commercials. I've come close. I got the 3rd call on a national commercial, and the first call, they didn't tell me what it was about, but they wanted samples of my work. So I sent them my demo. 10 minutes later, please, see, here's the first script. Just where it says blank, just say blank, because we're not going to tell you what it's for yet. So I did that read, and they said, well, the client picked you as one of the choices. We'd like you to read the final script. It was for an NFL commercial. And I'm like, and it was good money, but residuals and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, this is what I just need. Just somebody to hear my voice on TV and go, hey, who's that guy? Because that's how it happens sometimes,
Right.
Well, my friend Scott Rummel, look him up sometimes, folks. Scott Rummel has done more movie trailers. In fact, look up Scott Rummel movie trailers on YouTube, and you'll be blown away. You'll go, I know that voice. It's like,
I was going to ask you if you knew someone who had, because they're so intense.
Oh, yeah.
When they do those movies,
Scott Rummel. Scott Rummel was the guy that 20-something years ago, he's the one that told me about this because I was on stage with him. I go, dude, you've got the nicest voice. He goes, well, I better. That's what I do for a living. And so he turned me on to his website, and I'm like, holy smokes, I've heard. And like, you walk into, thank you for coming to Disneyland. The park will be closed in 30 minutes. That's Scott too. It's like,
no kidding.
And my friend Jess Arnell, not only is there's something called the Animaniacs by Warner Brothers. He's wacko. Yeah. That's wacko. He's wacko. And if you go there, they tore it down and they built something else. But it used to be the log ride jamboree at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Brer Fox and Brer Bear and Bear, all these different. He was every voice was him.
No.
Yeah. So I know guys that, and Sue and I got to go to a show and we saw
Without
the guy
showing.
that does Winnie the Pooh. I mean, so we get to
Yeah.
see all these people that actually do these voices, and you go, man, I can't. And the girl that did, I don't know if she's dead or not, but I saw years ago the girl who does Bart Simpson. Got to see her.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, I got to see a lot of people, and the coolest
That's right.
thing.
That is a girl.
My first coach, Chris Fries, who I think is incredible. But I said, "What's the coolest part about our job?" And he says that we can walk down the street and people don't bother us for autographs and stuff. And he's a millionaire. He's made some money. But he said one time I was at a Super Bowl party with my wife, and she's on the other side of the room, and there's the owl. You know, America's Best Owl comes up, and that's Chris. And
Right.
his wife goes, and he's like, "Shh, I don't want anybody to know that's me. Just be quiet." He loves the anonymity of the whole thing of not being noticed. So I kind of think that's cool too. You don't have, I always wanted to carry the briefcase. I didn't need to be front and center on stage. So I like that idea.
Well, last question at you, buddy.
Okay.
What's one non-essential item you would bring with you to a deserted island?
A non-essential item.
Non-essential.
Well, that would be the Bible. I mean, it has enough stuff for me to read in there and for me to ponder on. And I just think that regardless of what faith you have, if you read that book just as if it were a book, you'd be amazed at the poetry, of the history, of the lessons, the life lessons. And it's like, I heard a guy say it one time, it's like, here's the thing about believing in God or not. He said, I'm reading something written by somebody 3,000 years ago, and it's defining my sin in a perfect manner. Who could write that but the guy that created both him and me? So I think that's the one non-essential thing I would have would be the Bible, because you don't have to have it.
Well, I have to give it to you. It's a lot more profound than mine being a hand lotion.
And a good magazine.
All kidding aside, I would say, could there not be an argument that the Bible would actually be an essential item to have?
Yeah, that's if that were the case.
Could the point be made, right?
If that were the case, a non-essential item would be, I don't know, that's a tough one. Something I don't need. Telescope.
Yeah, good one. Because I was thinking fishing pole, but I'm like, well, you actually would need that,
yeah.
right? But telescope, very good. Shit, you would see everything out there, right?
Everything,
with no lights.
Everything. That's the cool thing is people don't understand. If you know where Cassiopeia is, you can look up at where Cassiopeia is, even in the night sky where there's city lights.
Yeah.
If you can see it, that's where the Milky Way is. And if you think about it, the Milky Way is like a big pizza, and we're somewhere between the crust and the cheese and the sauce, somewhere in there, on the outskirts of that pizza somewhere. So it's
So let me ask you, in the Bible, putting you on the spot,
okay,
whether it's your perception or not, or because some parts of the Bible, I guess, could be, how you read it could play into how you interpret it. But
oh, sure.
Is there anything that ever discusses or alludes to a solar system?
Well, the funny
Something
thing
beyond Earth?
Well, the thing that's interesting is that the oldest book is theorized to be the book of Job. And Job was a story about a guy who had everything. He had tons of animals and wives and children and wealth beyond measure. And the devil was running around the skies, and he came up to heaven and said, "Hey, look at all your people." And he says, "Yeah, consider my subject Job, how well he's doing." And the devil says, "Well, take everything away from him and let's see how much he loves you." And so God said, "Okay, but you can't kill him." So took all his kids away, killed all his kids, killed his family, took all his livestock, burned everything down, killed him, killed his entire family, and left him sitting in a pile of ashes with his friends giving him crap the whole time. And so this is a true story. It's a real story. It's in the Bible about suffering and and his friends are going, just surrender, curse God, and just go on with life. And he's like, "No, I won't do that." And he mentions the Pleiades and also Orion, which Orion is a constellation, and the Egyptians built their pyramids aligning perfectly as the belt of Orion, those three stars.
No shit.
No kidding. And so the Pleiades are called the Seven Sisters, and you can see them. And one of them is right next to Aldebaran, the bull is right there. Is one of his eyes is one of the stars.
Very
there.
cool.
So they mentioned that in. They also mention a sphere, the earth being a sphere in the Bible. So it doesn't matter. Well, they rewrote it. Well, they rewrote it in AD 10 or something. No one knows. So
would have made a difference.
Ooh, big deal. I mean, but so they were such a belief. The Bible was talking about planets that are out there, and the Vatican was telling the guy that invented the telescope, I forgot what his name is, but he said, "Hey, I've been looking at Jupiter here, and there's dots are moving around it, and they're like, either recant that or we're killing you. Because we move, everything moves around us. Nothing can move independent of us. And so we had to recant
right.
it.
There's scope. Well, I mean, think about it. It's so mind blowing now to find out what's out there.
Yeah.
They couldn't even, I mean, they probably didn't even, I mean, I'm sure they didn't even understand what the sun was back then, right? I mean, they couldn't. They didn't have the technology.
Well, the Chinese,
you think they knew?
The Chinese in about 81,000, I think that they witnessed a bright light in the sky that didn't go away for days. They recorded the time that it happened, and what they can do what's called extrapolation. A star or a body moves away at a certain distance, but what they do is they find the speed and they reverse it and find out was it a single unit? And they did that with this, I want to say the Crab Nebula. I forgot which nebula it was, but that was what the Chinese saw and recorded, was something that happened in the AD 1000, was the explosion of a star. So it's like they're recording even back then. I mean, the Mayans, the Aztecs, they had such a knowledge of the stars. It blows your mind. The Egyptians had an incredible knowledge of the stars. And there's all, well, they came from the Anunnaki and, from the first people, and they came down to Earth and populated the Earth. There's a lot of kind of theories about that. And so, but definitely space is mentioned a few times in the Bible.
I mean, part of it had to be the fact that just because it was so electricity and lights and stuff like that, I mean, everybody in the world had a fantastic view of the solar system at night. I mean,
people don't understand. It's like when they talk about, like, even, I don't want to get too off track, but they talk about people who see there at night, they're watching the sheep and an angel appeared and they just freaked out and they went down. Because if you've been in Michigan in the forest, in the dark, you can't see your hand if there's no lights. It is darker than darker. You could be standing next to a bear, and bear's like, I see you and you don't see me.
Right.
But that's what it's like back there. They had no light back then. So that's what blows my mind. Everything. Oh my gosh. I mean,
not around them, but as far as the stars.
Oh, well, that's the thing is my wife, she asked me, I told her to wait because we got some other things financially going on, and she wants to buy me a telescope for my birthday that just passed. And I said, no, honey. I said, when you decide you want to buy one, I'll kick in because I want a good one. And she goes, what's a good one? I said, $700-800. It's got to be tracking. It's got to be electronic, so I can triangulate 3 points and I can just say, I want to follow the moon for a while, and it'll just track the moon and never go out of focus. And I can hook it to my computer and take pictures and stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That's my gig. So that's what I take, not essential.
I guess the only time that they wouldn't have had a clear shot is when there was a full moon. But even back then, that had to be a total trippy thing because a full moon, when there's no artificial light condemning it, is pretty bright. I mean, that had to light up a whole village, right? Like you could see down the street.
Well, when I start looking, because I studied the moon for about 2 years. I had a geographical map of the moon, and I found every place that they landed, all these different sites, and I even bought an acre on land on the moon from the Lunar Society. I mean, it's not valid. You can't legally do that, but hey, I was nice in Sinus Imbrium and Sinus Iridium and Mar Imbrium, Sinus Iridium. I have a little piece of property, but it's like to me, it's kind of cool to look at the moon, and you have to look at it when it's not full because it's too bright. But you can get a lunar filter which makes hit valleys and stuff, which is what I'll probably end up doing because you can see more when it's full like that. But I love stargazing. I do.
Yeah. It's nice. That's good. Okay, Stargazer, sign us off.
Well, we want to
join the show. Join the show. Come on.
Hey.
We have another screen. Pop you up on a screen. Take some of our questions. We want to learn to know you like you're getting to know us.
And the more people we get, the more advanced we probably will get. And maybe we can even do a simulcast where you can actually call us at the time we're doing the show. That would be pretty cool. So until then, folks, whether you're in Lake Havasu or whether you're at Philly watching Bryce Harper win the All-Star Home Run Derby, which he's probably going to do, enjoy your day, be good people, and treat people with respect. Love you. Tony, take care, buddy.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye, man.